I wanted to ask you, is Conor coming back?
So Conor says he's coming back. He's in the pool. He's doing his thing. He's all kinds of footage of him training. You know, he wants to fight on this White House card. We'll see.
Great. The White House. Dana White said you and John Jones, that's a real deal.
I'm going home. I'm going to get the head down. I'm going to rest. They're testing me. I'm in the pool. I says, you always say, man, I thought that's what the pools are for, jumping in and out. But I'm back in the pool. So get ready and stay ready because damage will be done. Oval Office, White House.
Conor McGregor has officially begun laying the groundwork for his highly anticipating comeback. And this time, Dana White himself is backing up the Irishman's words and intentions. The greatest comeback in sports history is set to go down at a UFC event like no other, hosted at none other than the White House, with one destined opponent, the one and only Michael Chandler. A clash that's been brewing for years is finally about to explode. Today, we'll break down this monumental event, why this fight was inevitable, and what chances each warrior has of seizing victory on the grandest stage the fight game has ever seen. But before we start, I ask you to subscribe to our channel if you don't want Conor to injure his pinky toe once again. Let's go. It's been over 4 years since Mac's last fight, and Conor just keeps teasing his comeback, even though many fans have stopped believing it'll ever actually happen. At first, the Irishman was planning to return as soon as possible, but the parties and the snow seemed way more appealing to him. A bit later, Conor bulked up and started making bizarre claims about taking the welterweight belt, and all that happened even before the legendary headshot dead moment.
It's not if, when I knock Kamaru Usman out at 170. That'll be 3 UFC World Titles won, moving upward with 3 knockouts. I knocked out Aldo, I knocked out Alvarez, and knocked out Kamaru Usman.
This is #1 bullshit.
The real talk of a Conor comeback kicked off right after TUF was announced, where McGregor and Chandler took over as rival coaches. The Irishman was showing off some crazy training clips, but his eyes told a different story. It was clear he wouldn't have passed USADA at that point. Dana made it clear to the fans McGregor's return would only be announced once the UFC was 100% sure about him. And after the historic UFC 300 card, that moment finally arrived.
June 29th. Conor versus Chandler. 5 rounds, 170 pounds.
We've finally got what we deserved. That's all I was thinking about during Dana's speech. Dana's bald head hadn't shined that bright in a long time, and his grin was almost too wide. McGregor was grinding hard in the gym during the day and tearing up the nightclubs after dark, pupils blown out like a cat before a fight. Rumors started swirling that Conor might pull out because there's no way a fighter can walk into the octagon in that kind of state. Everything seemed under control though, until word leaked that McGregor had injured his pinky toe.
This is #1 bullshit.
The pinky toe saga blew up so hard that everyone and their mother started clowning on Conor. DC came to the Irishman's defense though, saying that as a fighter who throws a ton of kicks, McGregor needed to be absolutely sure he was stepping into the cage in perfect condition, especially after such a long layoff. And sure enough, just 2 weeks out from the event, the rumors turned out to be true.
June 29th. Conor versus Chandler. 5 rounds, 170 pounds.
Wrong.
All right, guys, here I am again. Conor McGregor is out of 303 versus Michael Chandler with an injury.
I'm coming back with a vengeance, and I'm coming back with skill. So I'm excited to show my skills, my man, yeah?
Good luck with that. Good luck with that.
Conor instantly became a meme. For the first time in his career, he pulled out of a fight due to injury. The irony was brutal. This is the same guy who mocked RDA and Aldo for doing the same, and never missed a chance to clown Khabib either. the whole comeback saga fizzled out, and McGregor slid right back into his usual routine. Snow, aka coconut, nightclubs, roughing up people twice his age. Oh, and of course, calling out every star under the sun, promising that the king would return and blood would be spilled.
Think you would beat Ilya Abturo, top Toro. I grab him by the scruff of the chest and slap that little nose off him, yeah? Little ding-dong of a thing he is, yeah?
It's been over a year since the infamous pinky toe injury, and of course, Conor hasn't stopped talking about a comeback. Now, as a shareholder in Bare Knuckle, he's even claiming he'll fight Bare Knuckle without naming an opponent, hinting, apparently, at another retirement age victim.
This is #1 bullshit.
Jokes aside, for the first time in a long while, Dana has started saying that McGregor is actually taking his shape seriously ahead of the White House event. Why should we even believe any of this?
No.
First of all, Chandler, Mike, being the true Hachiko of MMA, waited endlessly for Conor. After that, he finally took a fight with Oliveira and got completely dominated. Then he signed on to face Paddy Pimblett, only to get picked apart in every single area of the game.
I believe he will know right away within the first exchange he's not stepping into the octagon with Bobby Green, with Tony Ferguson, with some of these guys that he has fought. It's just a different level, and I still believe where I'm at, it's a bad matchup stylistically for him, and the Paddy train stops in Miami. God bless. See you at the time.
Conor saw all of that and sparked up like a match. If Paddy could do that to him, he's sure he can KO him in the first round. That's what Conor's thinking. And of course, there's the mega show, maybe the last one left in the Irishman's career. Conor knows he'll hit 38 in July 2026, so titles are out of the question, but he can still put on a couple of blockbuster fights and cash in. And when, if not on the White House lawn at Trump's place, especially with John Jones's punishment hanging over the landscape.
Because it's a fact.
This matchup is more relevant than ever, and it's guaranteed to bring some intrigue. First off, Dana's running low on true money fighters, and for an event of this magnitude, the bald one will definitely lean on American stars. A win for one of them could give a huge boost to US MMA, which is clearly going through a rough patch right now. On the flip side, any Conor victory in 2026, even if it's over a nobody, instantly becomes a global headline. That's why I still consider Tony to be a backup fighter to slice both of them.
Good luck with that. Good luck with that.
Just a year and a half ago, we saw Mike grinding 24/7, 365, fully motivated, while Conor was partying and drinking just as consistently.
This is #1 bullshit.
Back in June 2024, I would have confidently picked Michael Chandler to finish him in the very first round. But what's changed since then? And in what shape will both fighters actually step into the cage when this potential showdown finally goes down next summer? Let's start with Mike Hachiko. By spring 2026, the veteran will already be turning 40, and we've witnessed a pretty steep decline from iron. Think about it. You could excuse the Oliveira loss as ring rust against a tough opponent, but getting completely outclassed by Paddy is a clear sign that age is catching up. His bombs don't look nuclear anymore. His wrestling doesn't feel as lethal, and believe me, even Conor has noticed that, drunk or not. That said, you can't take away Mike's motivation. With a paycheck like this on the line, he'll grind harder than ever, especially knowing that a statement win over Mac could set him up with a couple more big money fights and contracts. And let's not forget, Conor hasn't had a real fight since 2021, unless you count exhibitions against drunks or women.
This is #1 bullshit.
So what can we even say about Conor's form and those training clips if we ignore the quality of his sparring partners?
This is #1 bullshit.
Honestly, we might need to ask Khabib not to show up in our video because there's just no way to give a clear take on the Irishman's shape. What we can note is this: Conor's definitely shrunk down in size. His head is slowly morphing back to its regular proportions, and even those famously dilated pupils don't look quite as dramatic anymore. A true comeback story, straight out of a Marvel origin arc, just with a lot more whiskey. Conor's been putting in more rounds with the small gloves lately, and, of course, beating up kids in the gym. Clearly, he's trying to prep for Chandler's speed. Sure, you can't exactly drink away fight IQ and experience, but the real question is, what happens with his speed and timing when Mike finally decides to throw back? Despite the losing streak, the age, and the accumulated damage, I still see Mike as the favorite. Chandler stays active. He competes against the very best in the world. He lands his shots, secures takedowns, and consistently shows up in shape. Yes, his punches don't carry the same damage they once did, and his ground and pound isn't as lethal as it was back in 2021. But Conor is also far from the fighter he used to be, no matter how much he will try to get back into form.
This is #1 bullshit.
Breaking down the fight itself will make more sense once we see what kind of shape and mindset both men bring into fight week. But as Dustin Poirier once said, if there's one man who can come back after all this time and shock the world, his name is Conor McGregor. The Irishman has demanded an outrageous purse and just as outrageous conditions. But believe me, Dana and Donald will agree to whatever it takes to make this event historic and unforgettable. Because no matter what anyone says, there is still no bigger star in the fight game than Conor McGregor.
You know, he is the best to ever fight in a fucking fight, period.
Whether the Irishman is truly capable of that, or whether Chandler will hammer the final nail into the coffin of the former king of the UFC, we'll find out soon enough if we are about to witness the greatest comeback in sports history.